And you know how when you're in the thing and you're really not sure. My parents knew I was gone every weekend, but I didn't really know if they knew what I was doing. She's got a flag, she's going to go, right? She's fine, she's safe, whatever. Right. My dad posted on my Facebook page, and he said, I know the Raiders were a very important part of your life, and I'm sure you bought a memory book, and I can't wait to see it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you paid attention? And I'm not surprised that he paid attention, but I was so wrapped up in my thing, I didn't realize he was watching how important this was to me.
Yeah.
But so we started a tiny group. I mean, we literally took the field with like 17 people. Keep in mind, a full-size drum corps is 128 people. Right. All right. Wow. So my friend Heather and I had sewed all of the color guard costumes and helped sew the costumes for the horn players and the drummers, and it was just a homegrown, organic group of kids who had no idea what they were doing, just out there with our little flags, you know. 20 years later, they are a championship performing ensemble. And I'm just like, really, God? Okay, all right, cool.
Great.
But it's so amazing because my friend Heather, who I've been friends with her for 24 years. I was thinking about it. 24 years. That's like more than half my life.
Yes.
But she had come up with, she saw a song in a movie, and it was called One More Time. She's like, this should be our core song. 20 years later, kids who were not born then are standing around singing it today.
How you doing it? That's fantastic.
And we were standing around holding hands in a circle singing One More Time. And there's a line in the song that goes, years from now, we'll look back and remember all the time. And it's remarkable that 20 years have passed. And with our little homemade costumes, now these kids have like professionally made uniforms and equipment. And, we had like a little tiny van that was like the A-Team van, like the A-Team van.
Right.
They've got like tractor trailers and all this. I'm like, really?
Everybody's involved.
You know what?
Great.
Yeah, but you know what though, Shauna? You think about it. Ideals, they give birth.
Oh, absolutely.
And a good ideal is like a good seed. I mean, you talk about this being the 20th anniversary when you started out with 17 people, and then of course tonight we're paying tribute to Sister Dottie Neal, you know, and when Sister Dottie Neal started out, you know, an innovator in this local access programming, look at what they had to work with. But the legacy, you know, is growing because you know, she planted a good seed.
Yes, she did.
It's very humbling.
It is. When I saw the graphic, not exaggerating, caught my breath.
Absolutely.
Because I haven't seen her face in years, you know? And so just seeing her face and the beautiful way that you laid it out, it was... And, you know, she was always clapping, so you got that picture of her with the hat and the clap, and, you know, all these memories came flooding back of the old station and her in the control room. You know, Shauna, don't cross your legs because I can see too much of your leg. And, you know, and stuff. You know, all these things that are just part of our normal program now. You know, it's a program, it's not a show.
That's right.
You know, and don't say what you don't know, because I would say, I don't know what's coming up next, but don't say what you don't know.
Yeah, don't say that.
It is. It's a seed, and it's absolutely a legacy.
Yes, indeed.
So thank you for doing that.
Yeah. You know, and it was so wild. At church this morning, I attend, you know, Tabernacle or Gospel Baptist Cathedral with Bishop Aretha Morton, and she was preaching this morning. And she was talking about, you know, just being in that glory.
Yes.
And you know, how the story went was that... I forget I can't quote it.
Right.
But she was mentioning going into the upper room, being brought into that upper room, you know, in that experience. You probably know how to cite it better than me. But when I heard about it, and she talked about the uplifting part of it and the praise that goes along with it, it just made me think of this program.
Right.
You know, think of Sister Dottie Neal, and you know, yourself. You've been a part of this since God knows when. Since
the beginning. Well, not obviously not since the beginning, but as it just feels like it's been all of my adult life. It really does. Yeah. And I just remember, you know, in the old station, she had this way of making things happen, and it just felt so effortless. Like at Thanksgiving, she would say, "I need turkeys," and then before we knew it, there would be people walking
bringing in
in
turkeys,
the
yeah.
station with turkeys. And then she would say, come to the studio and get a turkey. And she did the same thing with fans in the summertime, you know. And it was just, it was never a scramble or a work.
Right.
It was
Set our hands on the pulse.
right. It was an utterance of this is
Yeah.
what's needed.
Yeah.
And then it would just fall into place,
Yeah.
you know.
That's serving in that spirit, that
Yes.
sweet spirit, that
Yes.
Holy Spirit, you know.
And she was just, she was, you know, I remember the one, she was sick one summer, and that summer she said to me, she never said you have to do the show for the whole summer, you have to do the program the whole summer. She never said it. She would just tell me to come over to her house, and she would give me papers, and she would say, go to the Flower Pace and make a commercial, go to Waltz and make a commercial, go here and make a commercial. And then I'd have to hook up the camera to the VCR and do it that old-fashioned way. And then it would become a realization that, well, you're not coming Sunday, and we were on every week back then.
Letting you know.
You know, and
Right.
she's just like, go, you know. It was amazing.
I'll tell you, man, what a blessing. And even though I never met Sister Neal, I just want to once again just thank her publicly for what she's established here. And Shauna, you know, you and I and Doc Pritchett and Fred, we all going to work together. We're going to keep this thing going. And what Jack
absolutely.
mentioned, you know, brings to mind this battle about keeping this live, least access.
That's correct.
Through
That's correct.
cooperation
It's
with
needed.
NAPA. You know,
It's needed.
there's a lot going on with that.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
more to be revealed. I missed the last function, so I'm at a deficit of information, and I do apologize. We will get that corrected. And so anyway, you want to go to a break, and
Sure.
we'll come back.
Come back
and-
with Harry.
Yeah, we're going to
Okay.
come back with some more from Mr. Harry Spencer, and Doc Pritchett's going to still hang with us. Please stay tuned.